Welcome to the Cross Border Interviews, the show where we sit down with municipal political leaders from across Canada. Now, our mission on this show is quite simple. Shine a light on the dedicated individuals who day in and day out work around the council table to shape the communities that they call home. And for today's episode, we are honored to be recording it live in person at the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association Convention in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. While there, we caught up and sat down with Eastend Councillor Ted Venema. Across Canada, our cities, towns, villages, and rural communities are alive with stories waiting to be told. Stories of innovation and economic development, resilience in the face of the housing challenges, and the financial hurdles municipalities overcome every day. At the Cross Border Network, we bring these stories to life. From coast to coast to coast, we're connecting Canadians to the issues shaping our communities and showcasing the people working tirelessly to make them thrive. With your support, we can expand our reach, amplify more voices, and shine a light on the challenges and triumphs of municipal life. For as little as $3.99 a month, you can help us grow and continue sharing the stories that matter most. Join us today and be part of this important mission. Together, we can tell more stories, build stronger communities, and make a real difference. Support the Cross Border Network now. Visit www.crossborderinterviews.ca today. Ted, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Greatly appreciated. I want to start by getting to know a little bit about yourself. Okay. Where did your sense of duty to serve your community come from?
Well, I've been living in Eastend for 5 years. Moved over here from the West Coast.
Where in the West Coast?
Coquitlam, BC.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Yep.
I still teach at Douglas College there. I do the online courses, but you can teach those from anywhere, even from the basement of a bungalow in East End.
I just spoke to a councillor from Parksville in the Coquitlam area.
There you go.
Continue.
Yeah, so we moved to Eastend about 5 years ago, and you can actually buy a house there. And we kind of liked the landscape and the hills, and it's near the Cypress Hills. And so we were visiting friends that lived around the area, and we just decided to look at the real estate, and we said, "Holy cow, you can actually buy a place here!" So we did. So I don't know. I just kind of felt it'd be kind of interesting to be a councillor, and someone who was a councillor before me.
Had you ever considered running for politics before you got to Eastend?
Not really, but I was a councillor who retired from the position, had asked me, well, would you be interested? And I thought, yeah, why not? Check it out. So I did. I've never done this before.
Did politics grow in your veins, or?
No. I've always been a bit of a talker, though. I'm an educator. I like explaining, and so
then you're ready for my next 5 questions. Then.
So it kind of sounded inviting to me. I must say I didn't think about it for when we first moved here, but after a while, I started getting to know the town a bit better, and they get to know us a bit better. And I thought, when I was asked if I would be interested, I thought, sure, why not?
So this is your first year.
Yep.
Not even your first year, first 5 months.
That's right, yeah.
First SUMA convention.
Yep, absolutely.
Going to ask a simple question, but I think it's one that is needed. How's it been so far?
Very interesting. It's a large conference.
I meant being councillor.
Being councillor?
Well, how's being councillor?
Oh, it's interesting.
Really?
I find it really, it's you learn kind of how the meetings take place, and you also learn how new ideas come up for the town. Like I used to think, okay, it's all up to the councillors to come up with things, and it really isn't. We're more purveyors or kind of conveyors of information from people from the town who have issues and questions. And so I look at that as my job to kind of, okay, I'll take that to council, so we'll bring that up, or write a letter, or bring it up as an agenda item, and the council will have to discuss it. So I kind of look at myself as that kind of like a bridge between what people in the town feel and the council itself. I'm kind of being transferring information from them.
Do you get a sense that there's, how do I say this correctly? In my time in doing this show, and I've been doing this for 3.5 years, and I've spoken to about 380 municipal leaders from coast to coast to coast.
Oh, yeah.
And I get a sense when I speak to them that there is an apathetic nature when it comes to municipal politics. We'll complain about provincial, we'll talk about federal, but municipal, as long as my garbage is picked up, my water's turned on in the beginning of the day, we're okay with what's going on at Town Hall.
Well,
in your community, you get a sense that people want to engage on the issues?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Yeah, because there's
Okay, I'm coming to East End. I'm just going to say
the
that
town
right
is
now.
about 600 people.
Perfect.
And it's in a unique geographical area. It's got the Frenchman River running through it and hills that are 500 feet high or, a few hundred meters high all around. And because of that interesting geography, people like to walk around in the land beside or around town. And I'm always one thinking, you should build more footbridges across here, things like that. And people have brought that to my attention too. And I think, so people are kind of interested because our town is an interesting place. It's not kind of a sleepy, and there's a lot of people moving to East End from the West Coast.
Really?
From BC. I mean,
did you start the tidal wave?
I don't think we started it, but I think a lot of people caught the same idea and are moving out. And so it's a unique mixture of people in the town, from redneck cowboy people to hippy dippy pinko commie hippies. It's got a real.
Which side do you fall on there, Councillor?
I'm a little left of center.
Oh,
but,
there you go. So it brings up a good question then, because why East End? Because you say it was for the housing, which is understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, you could buy a house, but you could have bought a house in Calgary. You could have bought a house in
Calgary's too expensive.
Okay, Medicine Hat. You
Too
could have
expensive.
Bought, okay,
Still too expensive.
You could have bought Torquay. You could have bought in Moose Jaw, closer.
I like the landscape.
It's
the landscape.
So that's what drew you to it.
Yeah, it's people always think Saskatchewan is you tell anybody in Ontario or Ontario,
Whoa, I'm from Ontario.
Me too, from Kitchener.
Okay,
born and raised.
Newcastle,
Sarnia.
No
See,
comment.
There you go. All right. So, you ever been to Alabama? I've lived there too for a couple of years, but I've lost my accent. Oklahoma, I lived there too.
Where haven't you lived? Yeah. So you moved because of the picturesque community.
Yeah, and because of the affordability.
Okay. Which we're going to talk about in a few minutes, but I want to stick on you for a second. Yeah. Now, in your 5 months, hypothetically, 6 months, let's say, you've had to probably make some very tough decisions around budget, around zoning bylaws. And I would say, and I say this with respect, not 100% of the people are ever going to agree with the decisions you make
Absolutely
around there.
not.
How do you make those decisions?
You know what? I'm so new on it that I'm just kind of learning the way things are going.
So how's it been?
It's been interesting. I'm learning.
Are you willing to admit when you make mistakes?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm as dumb as a bag of hammers sometimes when it comes to knowing about the issues of the town. I'm new. I'm a guy who just lives in a van down by the river. I always say I don't know because I'm not from the area. And so people will know the facts much better than I do. There's an observatory right outside of town, the Wilkinson Memorial Observatory, like a telescope area because it's a dark sky area, And I just recently wrote an article for the Royal Astronomy Society Journal, but I had to go to Eastenders to get the facts. Jack, they know. Yeah. I don't. So, I mean, these are locals that know the area, and I respect them for that. They have to tell me sometimes, no, this is actually why X, Y, and Z takes place. So, go ahead.
So you keep on saying an outsider's perspective, but they elected you.
Yeah, they did.
They claimed you.
They elected
you.
It came to an election.
So did you ever get a sense that when you were running, because I lived in a small town, I ran for a small town council, and the moment I walked in there and I put my name on the ballot, people were like, oh, you don't know who we are? You're an outsider.
Yeah.
But it seems like Eastenders accepted you, and I say Eastenders like I'm talking about the BBC show for a second. But
well, in our council, there's 6 councillors and a mayor.
Yeah,
and 3 councillors had retired from the position, so there was openings for 3. And I got, I put my name in there, and the other 2 are people who are from the area.
Yep.
Me, I'm the only outsider. But I did, I enjoy the place. I like all the people. I like our neighbors.
Yep.
They may be whatever political stripe they are. I don't really care. I look at people as people.
Yep.
And do we get along? Can we chat? How's your garden growing? What do you like to do? What kind of beer do you drink? This kind of stuff.
Are you a Pilsner fan yet?
Yeah, I quite like it.
Okay, good. Yeah. If you're not, then you have to get out of it.
That is actually what I order at Jack's restaurant, is usually a pill.
Oh, there you go. I want to turn to the community as a whole.
Yeah.
And before I do this, I have to do a little preamble, so I apologize while I look at the camera for a second.
Right.
This is a conversation between the councillor and myself. This is not a motion of council, not a direction of council, not a policy of council. He needs a majority of people on council to vote and make that pass as a motion, a direction, or a bylaw, or a policy. With that being said, this may be an opinion. It may line up with what's being talked about, but again, it is his opinion and his opinion alone.
Okay.
Councillor. I usually get emails. Don't send them to councillor, send them to me. In your opinion, what do you see as the biggest challenge facing East End today, as of recording this at the beginning of middle of April 2025?
The biggest challenge, sometimes it's a resistance to change because of people who've been there for generations.
Yep.
Also, it's tackling what's new because so many new people are coming into town. And so I think it's a mixture of both of those. It's like the old and the new, and the town is changing. And I think that's kind of what we're right in the middle of.
So how do you see council's role in trying to address that change?
Just trying to listen and...
is it easy to listen?
Yeah, I'm an audiologist by trade. I'm told I can hear, I just don't always listen. So I have to learn to listen better.
You have 2 of these and 1 of these.
Yeah, so I find the challenge, I guess, is people getting used to new ideas, and I don't want to come into town thinking, well, I'm from BC and I know better than you do, and that's about the last way I want to come off.
That's the last way anyone wants to come off.
Well, no, you wouldn't believe how many people love to toot their own horn and act like they're,
We live in the Trump area, don't you know?
Yeah, exactly. He's south of the border.
While we talk about the challenges and the growing pains of the bridging the gap between the new and the old, how do you see your role in councillor in doing that? Because you are that sort of, not generational, but that interchangeable part of council where you are the sort of the new guard of the community, the people who have come from outside. And people will go, okay, we do have a voice on council. So do you feel like you have a little bit of weight on your shoulders when you're making these decisions?
I kind of look at it, you know what, I'm going to have fun. That's what I'm going to do. And when the person who was retiring from council suggested that I might want to try, I said, yeah, but I'm not really from around here. She goes, well, that might be a good thing. So I guess I kind of look at it like, what the heck?
So why did she choose you? Besides you like talking, were you active in the community at all?
I like doing talks. So I did talks at the library.
So when you saw the show, you were like, oh, I need to talk to him.
Yeah, I did a couple of talks at the library on astronomy, speed of light, things I know nothing about, and audiology, what's the anatomy of a hearing test, and what the ear, how we hear, and so I guess maybe they thought, oh, this guy, he might have something to, he's got some energy or whatever. I don't know.
And you seem to have enjoyed it.
So far.
What's been the most eye-opening experience so far? What's been the aha moment for you?
I think the aha moment is, I think I said earlier too, I used to think that it was up to the councillors to come up with the new ideas and throw them out there. And I'm learning, actually, that's not really the role. My role is, I can see it better as someone who listens to what people in the town are wanting to do and who brings those issues up at the council meeting.
Was there a specific issue that came up when you decided? Wow.
No, it was kind of, they follow Robert's Rules of Order. And you're going through the budget and you're doing this, and finally when it comes to new business, okay, that's where the new stuff might come up.
Yeah.
But then I realized Venema, you could, put up your hand, well, I think blah, 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 blah. But A, you're supposed to bring it up ahead of time. You can't just bring it up at the meeting.
Yep.
And B, it's better to come from someone in the town who says, or a group of people in town who say, hey, we think this would be a great idea. Let's say, for example, commemorating the biggest trees in town, how old they are, and naming them and getting a bit of a history of these things. And actually having a statement saying, this tree was planted 150 years ago and blah, blah, blah. And, that kind of stuff I think is cool. So when the communities in bloom, let's say, submitted a letter to council, I'm all ears. I think that's a great idea. So I'll be the first to support that. Or if they came to me saying, "Hey, do you think we could?" I'd say, "Absolutely, do it, but write it down, formulate it well." Because when it's presented at council, you'll make more sense.
Yeah.
Rather than whining or complaining and, "Hey, want some cheese with the wine." Let's just kind of get it together, and I will act as a councillor on your behalf and bring it up or support your idea or whatever. So I guess that's how I look at it.
So on the flip side of that,
Yeah.
and this is the hard part, is you only have a limited supply of money. You can't do everything for
You can't.
everyone.
Exactly, you can't.
Have you learned to say no yet? Or what do you say to people who come to you and say, we have an issue and we want it solved?
Hasn't really happened yet, but I will tell you, like the town of Eastend had a water treatment plant recently.
Yep.
That cost millions. Okay.
Yep.
And I think the
And
streets
for a 400-person population, you're probably 600 people.
And the streets look like something out of the Middle Ages. It's like, good God, you ride a bike, it'll be a bone shaker. But I'm thinking, okay, there's only X amount of money. You have to dig up the streets, you got to dig up the sewers, so you can't have everything you want. But if you try sometimes, as Mick Jagger says,
You just might find you get what you need.
yeah, buddy.
So what does East End need then?
What does East End need? Everybody
To quote Mick Jagger, what do they need? Is it money? Show me the money. Show me. How many Guess Who things and the Rolling Stones can we get into this conversation?
Well, everybody needs money. I mean,
Everyone needs satisfaction.
But we can't get it all the time. Now, so I don't know. I think new ideas are great. I think reality is great. Like knowing what's real when you can't.
You heard things during the election when you were door knocking or talking to people. Mm-hmm. What do people say when you ask them what would you like to see East End like in 20 years, 30 years?
A lot of people bring up the idea of making the town look better. There's some derelict buildings.
Okay.
The main drag is okay, but it could use improvement. You could have a few more benches and shady areas with some trees that people could sit and have a beer, that kind of a thing. So in a more enticing downtown or uptown, its whole main drag. But I mean, beautification of the town is one issue that's come up. Streets are another issue that's come up. Paving better, and that's always those two things I've always really liked. And others have said that they like as well. But something that I've always favored too is couple of footbridges to cross that danged river.
Yeah.
Because it's a beautiful town. There's a snaking river that goes through, right? And a lot of towns don't have a river like that, but we do. And it's neat to be able to cross. We're having a big flat folk festival every year now, like a big music festival that takes place every July, and that just started last year.
Oh, wow.
But wouldn't it be cool if people from the campground, which has been established and used as a cute little campground, would be able to walk right across over to the T-Rex Dinosaur Museum. By the way, we are the world's largest T-Rex dinosaur ever found was East End, right? So there's a T-Rex dinosaur. We're like Saskatchewan's version of Drumheller. We've got a lot of dinosaur
Time to put yourself on the map there.
Yeah, we are. We're kind of cool that way. Google it up.
I will, but it leads into the next question then is, people are always with the world that we live in right now. There's a lot of domestic tourism going on. There's a lot of internal Canadian tourism going on, which is great. Mm-hmm. And I think that every municipality has their own unique hidden gem. They have their draw.
Sure.
What is the draw of East End? Why should people make a little pit stop or a little detour and go see East End?
A lot of it has to do with the T-Rex Museum. Got a lot of petrified wood, prickly pear cactus growing there. It's a semi-arid area.
Really?
And there's a lot of dinosaur artifacts. A lot of dinosaur bones have been found in the Frenchman River Valley in that area. It's a clay belt. They call it the White Valley, or because there's a lot of clay. So pottery is one of the main drags in town. Is the name of the street, because there's a lot of clay has been found and pottery's been made there.
Oh wow!
So it's got kind of an artsy farts flavor to it. There's the Wallace Stegner, who's an author, and he lived in East End for a while, and he ended up becoming a prof at Stanford University in California. But he's a well-known author and he's written stories about wolf willow, which is a type of small shrub that grows around the area, and they have monthly stays at the Wallace Stegner House as well. So there's a real art community there, as well as T-Rex Museum and a great campground. And the landscape is gorgeous. You ought to come.
I'm coming. Let's grab coffee while I'm there. So I'm going to leave on this question. And you've had 5 years to come up with the answer for this, because you've moved there 5 years ago. And now you're council, so now you have to have the answer for this. And it's the $1 million question.
I'll make something up.
What makes East End such a unique place to live, to work, and to raise a family?
It's welcoming. We felt very welcomed coming there. It's a unique flavor of people who, the area's not old. It's only 1914 since it ever became incorporated as a town.
No, a year before 9 years after Saskatchewan joined Confederation.
Yeah.
I had to do basic math there, and that was really hard.
And Cutler's Last Stand, Chief Sitting Bull, he actually escaped out of Montana after that and lived in the East End area for about 10 years before General Walsh told him, you got to go back to the United States. So the area's got a lot of history. The area has history. It's got a lot of dinosaur artifacts. As I say, the world's largest T-Rex dinosaur was found right around there. So, and it's a unique, friendly place, and the geography is really unique. The Cypress Hills, which are about 40, just a little bit west of us. They call it East End because we're on the east end of the Cypress Hills.
Yep.
Okay, and the Cypress Hills are the highest elevation between Banff, Alberta, and Labrador. So we're like at 3,000 feet or 1,000 meters above sea level.
How did I not know this?
Check it out.
See, this is the great thing about coming to these conventions and talking to municipal leaders. You learn so much about different communities that I would never have known that.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you so much, Ted, for doing this. Greatly appreciate it, man.
You bet.
Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Cross Border Interviews. Now, if you've enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube. We also want to take a moment and thank the Saskatchewan Urban Municipalities Association for allowing us to come and attend this year's convention in Saskatoon, but also record these great interviews on the Cross Border Interviews. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to learn more about the communities and the people we feature on this show and our sister shows, visit us online at crossborderinterviews.ca. Your support means the world to us. So share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll be back with a brand new episode of Cross Border Interviews soon. Till then.